If you have any sort of doubt, any sort of queries, you can ask to the teacher. Teacher will explain everything in the classes only. Fine. Now coming to the second thing, we give personalized attention to each and every students. How? Because each batch will consist of maximum 6 number of students. There are also the batches which where only one student is there, one to one conversation will be there. There can be 2 students or maximum 6 students. It helps the student also to ask any sort of doubt, any sort of queries to the teacher without any hesitation, and the teacher will also explain everything very clearly to the student. Okay, now coming to the third thing which we have, it is that we have a very good dedicated academic mentor team. वो क्या करते हैं, they continuously track how the students are going, how they are performing in the class, how they are doing in the homework, everything, and finally you will get the feedback. So this also help you to improve very nicely, right? And the fourth thing is we cover the syllabus as per your school examination schedule. It may happen that some of the topic which has already been done in your school, but we have not done till it like yet, so you can request those things. So this type of custom request generally we handle, so we will perform those, like we will cover those topics first and then we will move on to the rest of the topic. So ऐसे होता है हमारा class. The general features of Swiflearns are this. Now move on to the key features. Why Swiflearn is different from any other platform? Because first of all, we maintain the progress report of each and every student. सबका progress report अलग होता है, and finally you will get this progress report in different intervals, and there will be PTM also. है ना? तो आपके स्कूल में भी पीटीएम होता है, पेरेंट टीचर मीटिंग. सिमिलरली पीटीएम इधर भी होता है, where the parent can ask any sort of doubt, they can give their suggestion, they can give their advice, as well as if they have any problem, we are always there to solve all this, right? So this progress report will help you to improve in your studies, in your academics, right? And it will also give you the tricks and tips how to improve yourself. Fine. Now coming to the SAT. SAT is the Swiflearns academic test series which happen in every Sunday from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. So you can perform over there. It is one type of test where you will be able to understand what is your rank all over the world. Okay, so the students of Swiflearn all over the world will perform and your name will be given with their rank on the leaderboard. Fine. So this will help you to understand where your ranking is and how to improve yourself. Now coming to the third thing, third and fourth is very important. That is, after completing each and every topic, what you have to do, you have to practice the question answers, right? So as much as you will revise and practice, it will help you to understand the concept better, and definitely you will be able to get the full marks in your board exam and school exam also, right? So we have an unlimited practice test where you will be able to get various types of question. It can be the objective and subjective both. In case of the objective question, it can be the true false MCQs, match the column, and any odd one out and all. And in case of subjective, definitely the 3 mark question, 5 mark questions will be there. We will give you the tips how to write the answer, where to include the diagram, where to include the different chemical equations. It depends upon the different subjects, right? So we are always there for you to help you and to experience all this feature. What you have to do, you have to book the free trial class. The free trial classes are already going on. Book it according to your convenience and enroll your name in Swiflearn so that you can also interact with us in the regular classes. Fine. Now, it is for those who have not subscribed the channel. Please subscribe it now only and press the bell icon so that you will stay in all the sessions of YouTube also, and you will be able to understand what is going on. Like you will go through all the topics whatever is there in your syllabus. So all physics, chemistry, biology, maths are going on, sessions are going on, so you will never miss any of the update of the upcoming session. You will get the notification and you will be able to interact with us in the chat box, right? Yeah. So do not forget to like, comment, and share also. And please give a type hi over here in the chat box so that I can also interact with you throughout this session. I'll also ask a lot of questions in between, and you will be able to give me the answers. And as you already know that whoever will give me most of the answers correctly and who will interact mostly he or she will be the student of the session. I'll write his or her name on the screen at the end of the session. Right? Hi Vaishnavi, how are you? Okay. So now let's begin with today's topic. Today I have already mentioned that today we will continue with the topic that is skin, which is there in ICSE syllabus of class 9. We have already studied about the different layers of skin and the different functions of skin. Right. So today mainly we will focus on the other varieties of things which are present on the skin and their function, how they help us in doing the different activities throughout the day and night. Okay, so as I have already mentioned that skin is very important delicate organ and this is the largest organ, right? Do you agree with me? And why it is delicate and important? Because it is actually giving a protection to the internal organs. And we have also studied about the different layers of the skin. Can you please write it down? What are the different layers of the skin and what are the different functions which are performed by the skin? Yes, let me see whoever has remembered all this thing. Okay, chalo. So in the meantime, let me tell you what we are going to learn today in today's session. Mainly, we will study about the different derivatives of the skin. Okay, so what are those? These are basically the hair and nail. As I have already mentioned that the dead cells are present in the hair and nails. In the previous session, I am also mentioned. So that is why if we cut the hair and if we cut the nail, we do not feel the pain, right? So this is because they are made up of the dead cells, but these are also very important because they also have some different role in our body. Right. So, what are the roles we will mainly see in today's session? Then we will move on to the different glands. Basically, these glands are all the exocrine glands. I hope you already have an idea what are the endocrine glands and the exocrine gland. So ये सारे glands जो है हम आज देखेंगे, those are all exocrine, मतलब इसका duct है. These are the glands having duct, right? So we will study about the sweat gland, sebaceous gland, and mammary glands, right? What is the structure and the function? And then we will move on to the heat regulation. That is how our skin helps in regulating the heat. Okay, how the heat production takes place within our body, how our body's constant temperature is maintained. Can anybody tell me what is the temperature, normal temperature of a human being? Yes. Let me see who can give me the correct answer in the chat box. Okay. So, yeah. So, how this temperature is maintained within our body and what is the role of the skin in this function, we will mainly study in today's session. Now, let us recall some of the things which we have already studied in the previous session. My first question to you is which layer of the skin contain the melanocyte? Yeah, so four options are given over here. One is the basal layer, second is the stratum corneum, third is the germinative layer, and the fourth one is the dermis. What do you think? Which layer will have the melanocyte? Basically, melanocytes are those special types of cells, as I have already mentioned, which makes or which produce or secretes the melanin. अभी ये melanin क्या है? Let me get this idea. Yes, we have already mentioned the melanin is present on our skin, है ना? Which gives a proper tone to our skin, right? So this melanocytes which secretes the melanin, where is it present in which layer of the skin? Yes, basal layer or stratum corneum or germinative layer or the dermis. In which layer these melanocytes are present? Yeah, basically they are present in the basal layer. Okay, and also the germinative layer because they are producing the melanin and this melanin is present in all the layers which are giving the uh, proper tone to the skin, right? Now my second question is which of the following is not a layer of the skin? We have already studied about the three main layers of the skin, remember? Hi Dhruv. Yes. Can you tell me? Yes. Correct answer is B. And now can you tell me which of the following is not a layer of the skin? Whether it is a dermis or the hypodermis or cutadermis or epidermis. Yes. We have mentioned about the three main layers of the skin in the previous session. If you go through the previous session, you will get to know about it. And also we have mentioned the detailed structure of all this, right? All these layers. So among all these things, the skin have the outermost layer which is known as the epidermis. So epidermis to hair skin mein, right? Epidermis is there. This is the outermost layer, right? Just below the epidermis, which layer is present? It is the dermis. That is the mid layer. We can say the middle layer, right? And which one is the third one? Just beneath the dermis, there present is the hypodermis. This is the innermost layer, right? So the epidermis, hypodermis and the dermis, these are the three main layers which are present in the skin. तो कौन सा layer नहीं है, which is not a layer? Then this cutodermis is not a layer of the skin. Okay, so C will be the correct answer. Clear and up to this much? Yes. Now let's begin with today's session. Before going to the session, I would like to tell you one story. Okay, so we all love to hear the story. Over here in this story, there are two person. Okay, Sarah and John. Sarah is the sister and John is her little brother. Okay, so John one day came to Sarah, and the Sarah was lazing around when her little brother John was playing and doing the homework also. So John is 10 years old. Okay, he came to his sister and started asking about his homework. Okay, now John is saying, what is the largest organ of the human body? Sarah replied, obviously it is the stomach because I'm sure of it. Acha. Then John said, no, you were wrong. That's why you keep fading. You also sometimes say like this to your sister and brother, right? Yeah, always quarreling with the siblings. Yes, it's a fun. Okay. Now, so, whom do you think that has given the correct answer? Is it Sarah or is it John? Sarah said that stomach is the largest organ, and John doesn't agree to this. Yes. So, which is the largest organ of our body? It is the skin. Okay, so last session I have already mentioned what is the total weight of the skin. It is 4.5 kg approximately. Okay, and skin is the largest organ of our body. It is starting from the head until the toe. It is covering the whole body. Okay, so look at your hair also, which is also which we keep on combing all the time. That also originate from the skin. So skin is the basic thing, or we can say the protective layer of our body, or the natural coat of our body, which is actually protecting all the vital organs, internal organs of our body. But the skins are also having the different types of things which we can see from outside. Do you see the hair from outside? Do you see the long hair which we have on our head, right? Yes. So, from where do they originate? We will study all this thing in today's session. Fine. So, these are basically known as the derivatives of the skin. So, what are the main derivatives of the skin? First is the hair. We will study about this because we know that I have already mentioned in previous session that hair is only found on the mammals, right? If you think about the fish, they have the scales, they do not have the hair, right? If you think about the amphibians, if you think about the reptiles, they have some different other types of derivatives, but they do not have the hair on their skin, right? So hair is only present on our body. Yes, on the mammals. The birds are also having other derivative like the feathers and all. Okay. Secondly, we have the nails. We all have the nails on our hand and legs. Yes, so these are also the derivatives of the skin. Then we will see that the salivary gland, not the salivary gland, it should be the sweat gland, I'm very sorry. So sweat gland, sebaceous gland and mammary gland. So these are basically the different derivatives of the skin. Now we will study in detail about the skin and the hair follicle. Okay, so this is the structure of the skin. Now from outside only we can see the shaft of the hair. So the hair which we can see from outside, these are nothing but just the little portion of the hair which we call as the shaft. Okay, but the main root of the hair is present in the dermis layer. So if you think about the three main layers of the skin which we have already mentioned in previous session, the outermost layer is the epidermis, just below it is the dermis, and below this one is the hypodermis. So outer layer we can see from outside, right? So the hair follicles are present, it is embedded, or it is starting from the dermis layer and it is continuing and coming out of our skin, and that outer portion we can see from outside. Okay, now other than this hair we also have this sweat glands. The sweat glands are also having the duct through which actually continues till the skin, and they have very tiny pores. These pores are known as the sweat pore. Okay, and through this pore the sweat comes out. तो क्या होता है? What do you think that why do the sweat comes out, and what type of feeling do we have due to sweating? Mainly we are sweating a lot during this summer season, right? Yes, because the humidity is very high. Mainly in case of the humid region, we can see that sweating is very high. Yeah, so this sweating takes place through the sweat pores. So what type of feeling it actually gives to our body? Can anybody tell me in the chat box? Yes, let me see what is the main function of sweating, what type of feeling it gives to our body. Okay, next you can see the different nerves, the different yellow colors nerves. Over here it is shown the different blood vessels, the blue and the red colored blood vessels. Over here it is shown, so all these are mainly embedded within the skin. So let us now see the skin in detail. Yes. So over here you can see the skin in detail. Okay. I'm just showing by moving this one. Okay. So what is this number one? So number one, you can see this one is the sweat gland. The sweat gland is very coiled gland and they are always have a duct. So through this duct, whatever sweat gland will secrete, that is the sweat, will be secreted and it will go through the duct and finally it will open on the pore. See, the sweat pores are present on the skin. It will open on the pore and finally the sweat will go out of the body. Clear hai? So this is all about the sweat gland. Now the second one we can see over here is the arrector pili muscle. So sometimes the hair follicle, you can see this one is the hair follicle, right? So black color hair follicle is present in the dermis. Now the second one, from the hair follicle, one muscle is associated with it. Now, have you ever heard or seen the goosebump? Mainly, it happens when you see the scary movie, or you can see like during the winter season when there is a continuous adjustment of the temperature of your body with the surrounding. क्या होता है, the muscle which is attached with the hair follicle, they contract, and due to this contraction of this muscle क्या होता है, the hair follicle moves upward, they become erect. Otherwise the hair follicles remains like this, right? But when this erector pili muscle, like the erector muscle, becomes constricted or contracts, we can see that the hair follicle will erect. Okay, and the hair will stand like this, and this situation we call it as the goosebump. Okay, clear hai na, the function of the arrector pili muscle. The third one is the sebaceous gland. देखो, sometimes with the sweat gland, the sebaceous glands are present. Not with the sweat gland, the hair follicle, the sebaceous glands are associated. ये sebaceous gland क्या secrete करता है? Sebum. Or this gland is also known as the oil gland, and sebum is also known as the oil. So it basically secrete the sebum or the oil which keeps the skin moist and not dry, and also it is always attached with some of the hair follicles. Remember this. Okay, so it basically prevent the skin from totally drying up. Okay, now coming to the fourth thing that is also very important, that is the nerves. Okay, the sensory nerves or the sensory neurons. So the sensory nerves are made up of the sensory neurons which will accept or receive the different impulses. So whatever type of environmental changes will be there around us, so what will happen if there is any sort of environmental change, it can be this during the summer season or rainy season or the winter season or heavy pain or pressure or humidity, whatever it is, the nerve will basically accept, this sensory nerve will receive the different heat, cold, touch, pain, pressure and all these types of feeling, and finally it will convey the message to our brain. Our brain will understand it, and finally you will be able to understand whether the temperature is hot or cold, or there is some pressure or pain in some portion of your body or not. So always remember that the skin is associated with all these things: the hair follicle, the sweat gland, the sebaceous gland, the nerve endings, and definitely the blood vessels. Okay, so all these things we will study in today's session. What are the different things which are present over here? Now, starting with the hair, as I have already mentioned that hair is only present on the mammal skin. So these hairs are mainly made up of the keratin. Keratin kya hai? Keratin is one type of protein which is present in the hair, in our hair of our head also, and the body hair also. Right now, ये hair start कहाँ से होता है? This basically their growth starts from the dermis region. Okay, that is just below the epidermis. The dermis is present. From the dermis the hair follicle starts. So continuously this growth of the hair takes place, and the color of the hair, why it is black, or sometimes we can see sometimes it is golden brown also. Yes, so how it is determined? It determines the color due to the presence of the pigment which is known as melanin. तो मेलानिन पिगमेंट होने के लिए जहां ज्यादा मेलानिन होगा तो डेफिनेटली हेयर ब्लैक कलर का होगा, एंड मेलानिन जहां कम होगा डेफिनेटली इट विल बी golden brownish in color. So dependent upon how much quantity of melanin is present in the hair follicle, it will give a proper color to the hair. Up to this much clear hai na? Yes, if you have any doubt, please write it down in the chat box. I'm always there to solve your doubt. Now let us move on to the structure of the hair. So our hair, whatever is present on our skin, this can be divided into three main parts. So ये three main parts क्या है? First is the hair shaft. Okay, so hair shaft कुछ नहीं, हम जो बाहर से देख रहे हैं. Okay, the portion of the hair which we can see from outside, this is known as the hair shaft. Okay, so this is just the tail portion which is basically present or extends from the epidermis. So if you think about this one, so this much portion is the epidermis. Okay, below this one where the hair follicles are originating, this portion is known as the dermis, and below this one is the hypodermis, where basically fat molecules are present. Okay, so this dermis से शुरू होता है hair, okay, hair follicle, but shaft generally रहता है epidermis में. Now second one is known as the hair root. Hair का root कहाँ होता है? Always in the dermis. देखो, this is the root of the hair. Can you see? Yes, this is the root of the hair which is present in the or embedded in the dermis portion. It is embedded in the dermis portion. Now coming to the third one. Third is the hair follicle. The hair follicle, it is the structure which enclosing the रूट ऑफ द हेयर. ओके, ये अगर हेयर रूट होगा तो मैं दिखा रही हूं विथ अनदर कलर्ड पेन विथ ग्रीन कलर. ये जो कप लाइक स्ट्रक्चर है ना, where the hair follicle is starting, sorry, the hair root of the hair is embedded, this structure is known as the hair follicle. So follicle is the cup like structure from where the root of the hair is embedded, right? And the fourth one is the hair bulb and the hair follicle. Together they help in the growth of the hair. So this is all about the main structure of the hair of our body. Okay, got it. So what are the three main parts? Root, hair shaft, hair follicle, right? And the bulb and the hair follicle together give the uh, together help the hairs to grow. So this is all about how the hair follicles are present within our skin, and it is not only present in on our head or on our hand, it is present all over the body except the palm. You can see over here, and the foot, okay, down portion of the foot. Other than this, the hair follicles are present all over the body. Sometimes it is very scarce, sometimes it is more growth. Now see, over here this woman is saying to this girl that, oh my god, what a pretty brown hair you have. I also wish that I also have that hair, that brownish color of hair, but I have black hair. See, most of the Indians also, you can see that they are having the black colored hair or dark brownish colored hair. But if you go to the western countries, you will be able to find that their hair color is golden brownish color. Have you ever observed? Yes, in the movies also. Yes, have you seen this? Why do you think this color is different, or it varies from person to person? What is the main thing which is present in the hair, which may be present in our hair but not present in their hair, or which may be present in their hair but we do not have that one? Yes, can you anybody tell me in the chat box? What is the main thing, what is the main protein? Also we can say the pigment is also the protein in nature. So what is the main pigment which is present in our hair, which gives a total black color to our hair but which is not present in their hair? Yes, yes, this is the melanin pigment. Okay, so melanin pigment basically gives the black coloration to the hair. Clear, and up to this much? Yes, Dhruv. Yes, tell me hi in the chat box so that I can also interact with you. Okay, and also you know that whoever will give me most of the answers correctly, you will be the student of the session. Okay, your name I will write it on the screen at the end of the session. Right? Okay. Chalo, and never forget to subscribe the channel, and don't forget to like, comment, and share also. Okay. Now, let's move on to the goosebump. As I have already mentioned, I have shown you where the piloerection or the like erector papillae muscles are present. They are basically present near to the hair follicles, right? So, when there is anything happening, any like you are looking into the scary movie, or it's a very cold temperature during the winter season, what will happen? Yes, the erector pili muscle will contract, and due to this contraction, what will happen? The hair follicles which are present embedded in your skin, it will stand erectly, and this condition is known as the piloerection. It takes place due to the presence of the pili muscles, the contraction of the pili muscle, and that is why it has given the name piloerection. Okay, so it happens as a result of the erector muscle which is present, and basically it runs through the hair follicle which is present in the dermis layer at the root of the hair, and that is why what happened, the root of the hair will become straight. Okay, and the hair from outside the shaft of the hair also we will see straight, and this condition we call it as the goosebump, right? Yes. Now let us move on to the sweat gland. So sweat gland kahan rehta hai? In the dermis only. Okay. And this sweat gland is also known as sudoriferous gland. Okay. So this gland is present all over our body, and like millions of sweat glands are present all together, like 2 to 4 millions on an average number it is present on our body, and this is mainly found in the feet, in the palm, in the forehead region, in the cheek region, and the armpit. Okay, so these are the main region where majority of the sweat glands we can find, and this sweat gland basically secrete the sweat. Okay, it excrete out the different harmful substances which we do not need in our body, and also it helps in regulating a proper temperature, the constant temperature of our body, to regulate the temperature with the surrounding temperature. Clear है ना? So now we will come to know about the composition of the sweat. So what is present in the sweat? You already have an idea what is sweat, right? We all sweat during the summer season, mainly when the humidity is very high. So sweating, the process of sweating, we already know it helps to cool down our body, to maintain a proper temperature in our body. Clear hai na? So what is the main components of the cell? Please write it down. This type of question you get generally in 1 mark. What are the components of the cell? Always sweat, always remember 99% of the sweat is water. As you already know, the water comes out when we sweat, right? Other than this, 0.2 to 0.5% different types of salts are present, okay, including the NaCl and the other different types of salts. These are present. And finally, very small stresses of urea is also present, which is not good for our body, which is the like nitrogenous in nature, and 0.08% of urea also go out of our body. So the sweat consists of 99% of water, 0.2 to 0.5% of other different types of salts, and urea 0.08%. Clear है ना up to this much? Yes. Now the secretory part of this gland absorb the fluid. कहाँ से वो fluid आएगा, कहाँ से वो extra water आएगा जो वो निकल देते हैं, right, हमारे बॉडी से, so that our body will get a cooling effect. वो surrounding cells से absorb करते हैं different fluid, and then they excrete the different fluid through the sweat duct. तो sweat gland जो है ये sweat gland है. So from the sweat gland it will go through, the sweat will be secreted and it will move through this sweat duct, and finally it will come to the sweat pore which are present on the skin, and this evaporation will takes place, okay, which it basically evaporates and gives a cooling effect. Okay, it will give a cooling effect to our body, and thus it will help in maintaining a proper temperature of the body with the surrounding. Clear hand up to this much? Yes. Any question till this? Yes. Now let's move on to the oil gland or sebaceous gland. As I have already mentioned that oil gland is presence associated to the hair follicles. Always remember this oil gland is present near the hair follicles, not near the sweat gland. It is present near the hair follicles, and they secrete sebum. So sebum is secreted from the sebaceous gland. इसको हम sebum कहते हैं. And if you call it as the oil gland, we can also call it as the oil. So it actually gives a proper lubrication or the proper coating to our body. It helps to keep our skin moist. Now sebaceous gland कहाँ रहता है, मतलब कहाँ नहीं रहता है? Always remember, palm में and sole of the feet में नहीं रहता. Other than this, we can find this sebum or sebaceous gland throughout our body. Exception is our palm and exception is our sole of the feet. So the sebaceous gland basically secrete the mixture of the fat and the cellular debris. ये जो oil और sebum आते हैं, what is it made up of? It is basically made up of the fat and other different cellular debris. Through this duct, again it is secreted over here in this gland, and finally it will move through the duct, because already you know this is an exocrine gland, and through the duct it will go towards the skin and towards the uppermost portion of the skin, and it will release out of our body. Clear hai na? So this is all about the sebaceous gland. So we have already studied about the sebaceous gland, the sweat gland, and the hair. So this sebum slightly helps in making the skin greasy, a little bit oily. Okay, but at maximum amount of oil, when it is secreted, it can cause the pimples and acne on our body, right? Which we generally see during the adolescent period. During the puberty, kya hota hai, this sebaceous gland and sweat gland becomes very much active, and that is why the sebum is secreted more. And due to this more oil secretion, kya hota hai, definitely it can release the different, it can give rise to the pimples, acne and all. Okay, so this sebaceous gland also begins from the embryonic hair follicle. It is present near the hair follicle, and in case of the babies, it can start from the 4th month of gestation, and they are totally well developed when during the birth. Okay, so this is all about the sebaceous gland. Now let us move on to the mammary gland. Mammary gland are well developed in case of the mammals, definitely, and that is why from the name of the mammals it is given the mammary gland. It is only present in the mammals, not in case of the amphibians, reptiles, fishes or birds, right? So these mammary glands regulate the endocrine system. It is regulated by the endocrine system. Can anybody tell me which hormone generally helps in the secretion of the milk from the mammary gland? Anybody in the chat box? Let me get this answer from you. Okay, so which hormone, you have already studied this hormone in class 8, remember, in the endocrine system chapter. तो कौन से hormone help करते हैं in secretion of the milk from the mammary gland just after the pregnancy, like after the birth of the child, like we can say during the lactation period. Now let us see the mammary gland in detail. Okay, what are the main things which are present within the mammary gland? So this is the mammary gland. You can see over here, the first one over here, you can see the pipe like things, right? These are known as the duct or lactiferous duct. Which duct secretes the milk? This duct secretes the milk. Secondly, you can see the glandular tissue. This is basically the exocrine glands which secrete the milk, and these are the glandular tissue. And the third one, we can see these are the lobules. This number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can see this lobe like structure, the divisions. These are known as the lobules of the mammary gland. Clear hai? So these are the basic things which are present in the mammary glands, basic things which is also there in your syllabus. Okay, so this become very much active during the lactation period, and it helps in the secretion of the milk. These ducts are known as the milk duct. These are known as the lobules, the different lobules. And below this is the fat, okay, the adipose tissues which is present over there. Okay, so these are present basically during in the chest wall. Now let's move on to the next thing, the next derivative, that is the nails. We have the hard portion of our body, that is the nails. We have the nails on the fingers and the toes, right? The 10 fingers and the 10 toes, right? So they are also hard. Why? Because of the presence of the keratinous plate. Okay, these are also made up of the protein keratin, and this keratinous plate basically gives them the hardness. Okay, we will study about detail of the nails. It mainly consists of the 3 main parts, that is the plate of the nail, bed of the nail and matrix. We will now see what are this plate, bed and matrix. So you can see over here that the plate is the outermost region of the keratinized cell, which is totally dead cell, and that is why when we'll just cut the nail, we do not feel any pain, right? So this is the plate region. Okay, that is the plate region of the nail. Second is the bed is just below the plate, which you can see over here. This is the nail, and just below the nail is the bed region. So this pinkish region, if you don't apply the nail polish, you will be able to see that better. So the pinkish region just below the nail, you can see this is known as the nail bed. Okay, so bed के ऊपर nail रहता है. Okay, and the third thing is the matrix. So matrix क्या है? This is the behind portion or just behind the skin, which is present below the skin, okay, which we cannot see from outside. That is the matrix region, which give rise to the new cells, and that is why we can see that the nail grows. Okay, so it pushes the old cell outward. So that the old cell generally we cut, and that is why no pain at all, and the new cells are formed behind it. New cells are formed in this matrix portion. Okay, so over here the new cells are formed, and the old cells are pushed in this direction. So when it grows, we can just cut the nails over here, right? So whenever the cells become old, it will be pushed outward. Clear hai now? Yes, up to this much. Any question? Clear about the different parts of the nail? Now let us move on to the Hi Navneet, how are you? Let us move on to the meibomian gland. Meibomian gland is basically present in the edge of the eyelids. Okay, so there are also the different types of glands like the lacrimal gland, which is the tear gland, which secrete the tear. Also the meibomian gland, which secrete a little bit oily substance, which basically prevent the tear from drying up too quickly. Okay, it gives a oily portion to our eye, which is basically found, which gives a moisture to the eyelashes, and that is why the eyelashes do not drop down all the time, or they do not dry up all the time. Okay, so this meibomian gland is very important. It is present in our eyes, give a oily texture to our eyelashes. Okay, another gland is present basically to our ears, which is known as the ceruminous gland. ठीक है, ये ceruminous gland क्या है? It is the apocrine type of gland which is present along with the sebaceous gland in the ear, and it helps in production of the cerumen. ये cerumen क्या है? Nothing but the ear wax. Okay, we sometimes see that if there is any infection within our ear or any sort of thing, some liquid like thing, semi solid liquid like thing comes out, right? That is known as the ear wax. It also helps the ear to it prevent the ear from drying up also. Yes, it also prevent the ear from any sort of mechanical injury or physical damage, or we can also say the any sort of microbial invasion. Yeah, so this is the gland which is basically present within the ear. Now when it is hot, now let us move on to the another condition, the next portion of this chapter, regulation of the temperature. So when it is hot, when you are playing in the hot summer, okay, so what do you think? What happened to your body? You begin to sweat. Yes. Now ये sweating क्यों होता है? Any idea? What happens when you sweat? Yes, Navneet? Do you have any idea क्या होता है when you sweat? Now during this summer season you were sweating a lot, right? So क्या होता है due to sweating? हमारे बॉडी का टेम्परेचर मेंटेन्ड होता है. Basically this sweating helps to regulate the proper temperature of our body and cool down our body, and this sweating is nothing but one type of evaporation, so that there will be a proper balance with the temperature of our body and the temperature outside our body, right? So when it is very hot, when the environment is very hot, also our body will start sweating more and more, so that it can also adjust with the temperature outside. Now ये sweating होते कैसे है? It happens by homeostasis. Homeostasis matlab it helps to maintain a proper thing, a constant thing is maintained by our body, whether it is a temperature or salt balance or water balance, whatever balance is maintained within our body by doing the different physiological function. This process is known as homeostasis. क्लियर है होम्योस्टेसिस क्या है? अब ये होम्योस्टेसिस विद इन आवर बॉडी इज मेंटेन्ड बाय द portion of the brain that is known as hypothalamus. Okay, so hypothalamus basically regulate the temperature and osmotic balance of our body. Also हमारे body में kidneys है, kidneys help to maintain the water balance within our body. Blood helps to maintain a proper distribution of the heat within our body. Evaporation through the skin helps to maintain a proper temperature of our body. Pancreas regulate the blood sugar and maintain the blood sugar level in our blood. Okay, and skeletal muscles also contract and release the heat, and all these systems basically helps in maintaining a constant function within our body, right? The constant homeostasis within our body. So this is what we will study now. So हमारे बॉडी में homeostasis of the temperature, like temperature maintain कैसे होता है? Now, anybody, can you tell me what is the normal temperature of a human being? Yes, normal body temperature of the human being. When generally when we feel like fever or something like that, we check it through the clinical thermometer, right? So the clinical thermometer will give you a proper reading of your body temperature, right? So the normal body temperature of human being is 98.6 Fahrenheit. Okay, 98.6 Fahrenheit, or we can also say it as 37 degrees centigrade is our normal body temperature. Okay, we have the capacity to maintain this constant temperature within our body. सारे animals नहीं कर सकते. Okay, the cold-blooded animals cannot do it, but the warm-blooded animals like the mammals and the birds can maintain a proper body temperature. Okay, and that is why we have like we can produce a lot of different lot of energy to maintain a proper body temperature. Okay, so the body can control the temperature by making the releasing of the heat. So abhi ye release of heat kaise hota hai, how to release the heat or how to trap the heat within our body to maintain a proper temperature of our body, we will study it now in this session. So the main role which is played to maintain a body temperature uh, is played by the skin, right? Hi Dhruv. Okay. Hi Dhruv Raj. Okay, your name is Dhruv Raj, right? Okay. So the skin is immense blood supply is there. Okay. So when this blood vessels constricted or dilated मतलब blood vessel का वो wider हो जाते हैं. Okay, it becomes wider when it is dilated, and it becomes narrower when it is constricted or contracted, right? So इसको हम dilation कहते हैं, vasodilation कहते हैं when it becomes wider, and जब वो narrow हो जाते हैं इसको हम vasoconstriction कहते हैं. Okay, when the blood vessel becomes narrow, it is known as vasoconstriction, and when it becomes wider, so that more and more blood can flow through it to release the heat, excess heat loss, to maintain the excess heat loss, तो इसको हम vasodilation कहते हैं. Now ये dilated vessels, always remember dilated vessels मतलब ये जब dilation होगा, contraction नहीं dilation होगा, तो heat loss ज़्यादा होगा. Okay, and while constricted vessels like जब narrow हो जाएगा तब heat loss नहीं होगा, it will try to retain the heat within the body. ठीक है, तो अभी सोच के बताओ मुझे कि vasodilation कब होगा, in during the summer or winter, and vasoconstriction कब होगा during the winter or summer. हीट लॉस का कब जरूरत है और हीट ट्रैप करके रखना हमारे बॉडी में कब जरूरत है. Okay, depending upon that, our the blood vessels within our skin will dilated or constricted, and this dilation will help to lose the heat of our body, and this constriction will help to retain the heat within our body. Okay, clear है ना up to this much? Yes. Now this skin regulate like this the body temperature by supplying the blood within the skin. Okay, so the humidity affects the thermoregulation by limiting the sweat evaporation, and also they help to limit the heat loss. Clear है ना up to this much? Now, heat production कैसे होता है? It is produced by the metabolism. We already know, we eat the food is going to all the cells of our body, oxygen is also going to all the cells of our body. Now, oxidation of the food takes place within the cells. Oxidation होने के बाद क्या मिलते हैं हमें? Energy मिलते हैं. And this energy help to maintain all the different function of our body. Right? So, the warm air in the environment causes our bodies to heat up and to maintain the conduction and convection within our body, right? So ये conduction, convection, radiation continuously maintained होता है, and this is due to the presence of more energy which is taken place by the metabolism. Metabolism मतलब different chemical reactions taking place. तो ये हीट लॉस कैसे होगा? डेफिनेटली बाय इवेपोरेशन फ्रॉम द skin through the sweat or urine, feces, or when we are also breathing out, then also we are just losing the heat. Just while breathing out, na, try to keep your hand like this and breathe out. You will feel that the heat is also going out of your body, right? And the hot air is coming out. And also the convection, conduction, and radiation, they also happen through the skin continuously to maintain a proper temperature of our body. Now, all the vertebrates are classified into two main types: cold blooded, warm blooded, right? Yes, Vidyansh, yes, definitely teach the pollination and fertilization. Not today's session, we will definitely in another session, I'll teach the pollination and fertilization. ठीक है ना बेटा? Okay. So warm blooded animals कौन है? All birds and all mammals. और cold blooded में कौन कौन आते हैं? All the different types of fishes, the different reptiles and amphibians, right? Now ये cold blooded animals जो है, इसको हम ectotherm और poikilotherms भी कहते हैं. Why? Because they cannot regulate their body temperature. उसका body temperature vary करते हैं. When the temperature is different, their body temperature also different. When the temperature in the environment is hot, their body temperature is also varies. Okay, but within our body, हमारे body temperature continuously constant रहते हैं. और ये constant रहने के लिए हमें क्या जरूरत है? More and more energy. Okay, so energy is very much needed within our body, including all the mammals and birds. Okay, so we including the human being, they can maintain a constant body temperature. So now coming to the cold-blooded animals first, so they cannot maintain a body temperature constantly. It differs from one temperature to another. When they are going to the Arctic region, they have to maintain a different body temperature. When they are going to some other places, they have to maintain that. So they also suffer in the heat loss during the cold season. Okay, so during the winter season, and that is why they overcome this problem by hibernation. Yes, hibernation का मतलब आपको पता है, right? Yes, all the physiological activities when it is totally stopped, right? So they become less active at that region, at that time, and definitely they are also less active than that of the warm-blooded animals. Now coming to the warm-blooded animals, all the birds and the mammals will come under the warm-blooded animals. They have the capacity to maintain a constant body temperature. The heat loss takes place, heat gains takes place, and by doing this heat loss and heat gain, they can maintain a proper body temperature within the body. Yeah, so our internal body temperature, as you already know, it is 98.6 degree Fahrenheit, or in centigrade it is 37 degrees centigrade. ना हमारे बॉडी में जो ब्लड वेसल्स है, ये वैसो डायलेशन और वैसो कॉन्स्ट्रिक्शन करके कैसे बॉडी टेम्परेचर को मेंटेन करते हैं. लुक एट द पिक्चर. सी, वैसो डायलेशन जब होता है, वाइड हो रहे हैं, राइट, द ब्लड वेसल, एंड जब वैसो कॉन्स्ट्रिक्शन होता है, इट इज बिकमिंग वेरी मच नैरो, तो बहुत कम ब्लड फ्लो करेंगे. Okay, so when the part of the brain, that is the hypothalamus, will come to know about the temperature outside, and they will give the impulses, send the impulses to the blood vessel कि अभी vasodilation करना होगा या constriction करना होगा या फिर normal रखना होगा arteries and veins को. Okay, and accordingly the blood will flow, and accordingly the body temperature will also be maintained. So increased sweat production होगा, जब vasodilation होगा तो ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा blood flow करने लगेंगे, sweat ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा production होगा to maintain a proper cooling effect. Exhaling of the air will takes place, it carry away from the body heat, it will give away the body heat. More blood will be diverted to the skin, तो skin के तरफ ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा blood आ जाएंगे. Okay, so that is why in this time you can also find that the skin becomes reddish in color. Why? Due to the vasodilation. क्लियर है ना? यस. नाउ कमिंग टू द वैसोकॉन्स्ट्रिक्शन, कब होता है? विंटर के टाइम पे, क्योंकि हीट लॉस उतना ज्यादा नहीं है, हीट हमें रिटेन करके रखना होता है हमारे बॉडी में, राइट, टू मेंटेन अ प्रॉपर बॉडी टेम्परेचर. ओके, सो इट इज टू लो, द स्वेटिंग नहीं होगा, हीट लॉस नहीं होगा, एंड वैसोकॉन्स्ट्रिक्शन जब होगा तो ब्लड फ्लो भी कम हो जाएंगे, एंड दैट विल हेल्प टू मेंटेन अ प्रॉपर बॉडी टेम्परेचर. So this blood flow will be decreased like this, and it will become narrower, the blood vessels will become narrower, there will be no sweat, very less amount of sweating takes place, or loss of heat will not takes place at that time. And in extreme condition, इसीलिए bluish भी हो जाते हैं हमारे skin, okay, due to no supply of the blood. This is in the extreme case. Okay, so vasoconstriction also occurs in the blocked artery. If there any artery is blocked, if you just give a very like a strong hit on any portion of the skin, so you sometimes find it like a bluish color, right, due to the presence of the artery. Yeah. Okay, blockage of the artery. Now let us revise the whole thing with the help of a video.
Quite similar to the heating system. Temperature regulation. Have you ever wondered why you sweat when you get too hot from running, or shiver on a cold winter's day? Well, in this video we are going to explain why your body behaves like this. Humans are endotherms. This means we are warm-blooded. We keep our body operating at 37 degrees Celsius, regardless of the external conditions. However, this is a real challenge as our environment changes all the time depending on the weather, our clothes, if we are inside by the fire or outside having a snowball fight. So how does this work? Well, it's quite similar to the heating system in a house. In a house is a thermostat that measures the temperature. If the house gets cold, the thermostat will tell the radiators to turn on and heat it up. If it's too hot, they will be told to switch off. Simple. Your body works in just the same way. Here in your brain is a special area called the hypothalamus. It measures the temperature of the blood flowing through it and also collects information from temperature sensors around the body. It then decides if the temperature is too hot or too cold and will try and bring it back to 37 degrees Celsius. If you are too hot, the hypothalamus can then send signals out to the body via the nervous system that can cause various effects. It can send a signal to your skin and cause sweat glands to secrete the sweat onto the surface of the skin. The sweat itself is not cold, but it works because it takes the heat away from your body in order to evaporate it. Another way of losing heat is vasodilation. Look how these blood vessels nearest the surface of the skin open wide and allow blood to flow through them. The heat is radiated from the blood into the air and the blood cools down. If you get too cold, you can do the opposite with these blood vessels and close them off.
Okay. So I hope that you have already got an idea about how temperature is regulated within our body, right? Yes. Now let us do some quiz. Okay. So your first question is, cross out the items in the following list which are not the function of the human skin. Yes. Let me see who can give me the correct answer in the chat box. Yes. Which of them are not the function of the human skin? Yes, Vidyash, Navneet, quickly give me the answer. Yes, yes, quickly. Let me see who can give me the correct answer. So we can cross out respiration. Yes. We can cross out the digestion. Yes. And the secretion of the hormone. Other than this, all the different functions are performed by the skin. Right? Okay. Now let us move on to some of the true and false. Very easy. See, stratum corneum is made up of the dead cells having keratin. Do you think it is correct or not? Is it true or false? Yes, let me see who can give me this answer. Quickly give me the answer. Second is the malphigian layer is hard and resistant to bacterial invasion, which is present on our skin. Thirdly, the pigment melanin, which imparts the coloration to the skin, is found in the malphigian layer. Do you think it is correct? Yes. And the fourth is the dermis is very thick on the palm and the sole. Yes. So, which one will be the false or which one will be the true? Yes, who will give me the answer? So let's start with the stratum corneum made up of the dead cells having keratin. It is true. Okay. So always remember that the stratum corneum is the outermost layer of the skin having keratin. Second one is the false because the conified layer is a tough layer offering the bacterial infection. It is not that malphigian layer. The third and the fourth is the true, that is the pigment melanin is present on the malphigian layer and the dermis is very thick on the palm and the soles. Okay, so that's it. Let us discuss what we have already learned in today's session. We have studied about the nail, hair, mammary gland, salivary gland, sebaceous gland. These are the different derivatives of the skin. Then we have mentioned how the regulation of the heat and the temperature takes place within our body. Then the heat production, heat loss, and vasoconstriction, vasodilation. This is very important. You can get question from this portion. So these are the different topics which we have already mentioned. We have discussed in today's session. So let it be up to this much for today's session. We will again meet with a new topic into next session. Right. So thank you for being with us all the time till the end, and let me again remind you, do not forget to subscribe our channel, and do not forget to like, comment and share also. Okay, so subscribe the channel and press the bell icon so that you will never miss any of the update of the upcoming sessions. We will again meet in the next